P Narayanan.
Thank you, sir. The first point I want to mention is, though we are producing about 2.5 lakhs megawatts of power, our 47.5% of our rural folk and 7% of the urban folk, they don't have electricity, which means it works out to 35.5% of our population, which is about 44 crores of our population. Now, in spite of the great strides we have made in the field of electricity, we lag behind so much in in ensuring electricity to the vast, a very big section of the masses. That is one point I want to say. Second point is that similar inequality is there in availability of electricity when you look into the average electricity availability in the different states. It ranges from 120 kilowatt hour to 100, about 10 times that, 1,200 kilowatt hour. This inequality also has to be brought down. I know that in certain states they spend more on electricity, on industry and agriculture, more over and above the domestic use. But still, this inequality has to be brought down in a short time. Another point is that, see, we have got 2.5 lakh megawatt power of installed capacity, but what we are able to achieve is only about 65%. That means 35%, of course, we may not be able to achieve that, but we may be able to, instead of 65%, if we have, if we do research and if you have efficient handling of the various machinery, we may be able to achieve 85%. That is 20% more. That means about 35 to 40,000 megawatt electricity can be saved using this installed capacity. Another is that we have got about more than 30% loss, transmission and distribution loss. If we bring it to half of that, again we will be able to save a few tens of thousands. So together we may be able to save about 50 to 60,000 megawatt of electricity with the present installed capacity if we handle our equipments, our machinery, our workforce in a much better manner. I will request through you to the minister to pay attention to this matter seriously. Second is that we have got a very good institutions like NTPC, National Power Grid Corporation, etc. So many of them. Very good public sector institutions at the national level. But in the various states, the state electricity boards, all of them are not at the same level. Some of them are in a very bad condition, that we know. But we have to improve these things. Now, these public sector institutions, by improving them, to what extent we can achieve our goal, we have to take care of. Because I mentioned this particularly because during the last 1 decade or more, we have been giving more stress to the private sector, development of the private sector. I am not against private sector. We can let them thrive. But what we have seen, even in the city of Delhi, which is our showpiece to the world, the way in which electricity being distributed, transmission and distribution in these things, it is a political issue during the last election. The various parties complain that there is a lot of corruption, there is mismanagement, and a lot of money which is due to the electricity, the private sector, it is not being available and all that. So what we find when you look through the various states where private sector is functioning, particularly in the distribution field, one point what we note is that they are concentrating on urban areas only, not in the rural areas. So if you want rural electrification for all, giving a lot of importance to private sector may not help much. So what I would suggest, I am not against privatization, but by privatization and by encouraging private companies, what we have to ensure is that corruption is not there, mismanagement is not there, and a lot of wastage also is not there. In this connection, even though it is not connected to the electricity, in the name of improving production of electricity, the NDA government as well as the UPA government, they had given lot of coal fields to the private sector. Now, if you take a stock register of the coal blocks given during the last 1 or 2 decades to the private sector, if you take a stock, how many of them are producing? How many of them are started using those blocks, not producing, but preparation for the production? We find that very few of them have done that. I would request the minister through you to make a serious assessment of what these coal blocks have been made use, in what way these coal blocks have been made use of the private sector. And if they are not using it, take back those coal blocks. Because, I am saying this because there is, even last Friday when we had discussion in this connection, there was demand that we should improve import of coal. I am not against import of coal, but we have got a lot of coal available. But our coal has got one difficulty. About 40% or more of the coal has got ash content. Now, what we have to do is that it is not to just keep it away and import from cleaner coal from Australia or other countries. This is our national wealth. We have to develop our research in this field, our efficient handling of this field, so that we can make use of our national wealth to our advantage. If this has to be done, our two things. One, the Coal India Limited has to be, it is doing human service. It has to be improved. It has to be given funds. It has to be given people, even at the hem of affairs and at the lower levels, so that efficient management, efficient exploitation of our coal fields will be possible, and such coal can be made use of in increasing our production. So, another is that the research is not only in this field. In every field, whether it is in the hydel or thermal or solar or atomic or wind, whatever field is there, we should not be satisfied having achieved certain goals, certain levels. We have to improve this, improve our efficiency, improve our knowledge in these fields. For that, we have to continuously have research in this field. What I have been told by some friends working in the research institutions is that for the last 2 decades, we have been giving scant attention to the internal research in our country, particularly in the field of electricity. So I would request the minister through you that this research has to be improved. Now, 2 more points. One, regarding solar power. Solar power, I think, we have so much has been mentioned about the Gujarat model, where various things have been done. I don't want to go into details. What I would suggest is that we can, if we make a project in the next 2-3 years, we can see that 20 to 30 million households have their own solar power production. Now, to an extent that is being done in Tamil Nadu and in some other states also. Now, if it is only 5 or 6 units being produced every day, if it is 20 million, it means 120 million units being produced. So they can use it, or they can, and we have to make arrangements so that the state electricity boards will be able to purchase it. Some arrangement has to be done. What I am saying is that by production, such decentralized production, a cooperative production, we will be able to increase our solar power production in a big way. I'm not saying that the other vast fields being used and all that should not be avoided. But along with that, concentrate on this. Now, finally, sir.
Now conclude.
Yes, I'm concluding. One is that the government should give equal level playing grounds for private sector as well as the public sector. We have been giving public sector the pride of place, but that has, my fear is that that is not being done, particularly when we read the various news. That is one thing. So more attention has to be paid to the public sector, particularly the well-functioning public sector.
Okay.
One more point. Now, see, environmental problem is there connected with the electricity. So only one I am suggesting one point. When we are having more new thermal stations, particularly the bigger ones, have it at the pit heads itself, so that we can avoid one transportation problem, another contamination, and a lot of other wastage. Because if it is at the pit heads, we may be able to control it in much better way than if it is distributed all over the country. Thank you.